When does debt become unmanageable? This is a question I get asked over and over. And here, what we're talking about is consumer debt. It's really important for you to separate out consumer debt. That's credit cards, overdrafts, IOU, loans, store cards, revolving credit. Debt that you use to maintain a lifestyle, to pay for, say, a holiday in advance and consume and then have to repay later. I'm not talking about leveraged debt where you use borrowing to control an asset. We're talking about consumer debt, and it's really important firstly to know the difference. There is another blog on understanding the different kinds of debts, and if you're not clear on that, go and find that and watch it. But we're talking about consumer debt. So how do you know when you've got too much? Well, the simple answer is any consumer debt is too much. I know this might sound evangelical and even just weird in this day and age when consumer debt has become so normalized. It's almost weird if somebody isn't in debt. It's as though the name of the game is how fast can you get rid of the money that you've got, and then how fast can you get rid of money that you don't even have that you borrow. And this desperate reality and devastating reality is so many people's lives, relationships with themselves, opportunities are destroyed because of this thing called consumer debt. And so first thing, any amount of consumer debt is too much. Now, if you do have some consumer debt and you now make a commitment to get out of it, but you may be on that edge going, oh, Anne, I've got it under control. If you're spending more than 15% of your monthly income on just paying the minimum repayment on debts, that's car loans. We're not including your mortgage, but car loans, credit card repayments, store loans, overdrafts. You are already in over your head. You have to make a change. So how do you do this? The very first thing is own and acknowledge that actually having consumer debt is not a healthy way of living, and you will never ever create real sustainable wealth and freedom with it in your life. So you've got to acknowledge that it's got to go. Yay, so we've got that clear. So the second thing is you've also got to know that you cannot get out of debt with more debt. You've got to put down the shovel. You can't keep digging your way out of a debt hole. You've got to stop. You must cut up that credit card. You've got to go cold turkey. You have to stop. And this includes falling for the kind of scheme going, oh, well, let's consolidate your debt and help you get out of debt that way. Now, debt consolidation has a role in blitzing debt, but it is not your first step. And debt consolidation can be so dangerous because people think, oh, if I just shift my debt, then it's okay. If I just move it to a lower interest, then it will be okay. No, because you're not dealing with underlying behavioral and mindset issues that got you in debt first place. So put down the shovel. Key step number 2. Then you contact and let people know, firstly, your friends and family, that you are breaking free from debt. Be confident about it. Let go of the shame of having got yourself into a debt hole, because that is one of the things that keeps people deep in debt. Not reaching out, letting people know that actually, you know what, they want to make a change, or even worse, where people are struggling to make their repayments, that they're in a hole, that they're really struggling. The shame and guilt around money stuff is actually the thing that prevents many people reaching out for support, getting help when they could actually quickly turn something around and gets them into real trouble. So if you're struggling to make those payments, if you're struggling to clear those debts, even the minimum repayments, you must contact the people you owe, the banks, the lenders, the store card, and let them know, because also once you've let them know, you can start making debt arrangements. You can start negotiating lower interest rates. And if you're really struggling, you can go into debt review, get support on this, where you renegotiate payment settlements, new interest rates, freezing of interest. There are a lot of things that can be done. There are also amazing charities and support organizations that for free will help you arrange strategies and mechanisms to get out of debt and help you with those negotiations and writing those letters. And now that you have got clear that you're getting rid of debt, that you've spoken to your friends and family with no shame, saying you want support from them, if you're really struggling, you've spoken to your lenders, now is the time to get really clear of exactly what you debt you have. And there are 5 key elements, things that you must know in order to get out of debt. And that is in another blog post. So you can go and look at those details, but you've got to know what you've got, and then you put in place a structured debt blitzing plan. It's really important that you have a structured plan to blitz your debt with very clear steps, organized, where you focus on the priority debt. And you automate the blitzing. Super, super important. If you have this sort of, oh, well, when I've got a little bit of spare money, I'll throw it at this debt and maybe I'll do that, you will never, ever, ever clear this debt. 6th step with that structured debt blitzing plan in place is you focus on your freedom. You focus on what being free of this consumer debt is enabled you to do and have, and the choices you're going to be able to make. Not what else can I buy and how can I free up and so I can put some other minimum repayment in place. No, we're talking about real wealth. You also want to start focusing on investing and how having assets will give you real wealth instead of just consuming money that you don't have and selling your future to consume now, because that's all consumer debt is. And now with this structured, automated debt blitzing plan in place, you see where else can you throw extra money at your debt. Liberate yourself. Look around your house. See what you can sell. What is stuff you aren't using? Or even if you're only using it a bit, the whole aim of the game is to get rid of this debt as fast as possible, because then you rebuild a whole new life off that new fresh slate, free of consumer debt. So go on to sites, Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Craigslist, OLX, Takealot, sell that stuff. Every bit of money that you free up, you can put against your debt, and that is going to not only save you significant amount of interest, but also save you time. Claim that back. Because here's the devastating thing. If you only pay the minimum repayment required by law, and you set that in place every month, and that's all you do of your credit cards, your overdrafts, it will take you between 17 and 22 years based on the average APR, the interest rates that are currently being charged on credit cards, to repay that debt. And you will pay it over 5 to 7 times. So when you think about that holiday or that easy thing you put onto that credit card, you said, oh, because you want it now, and instead of saving up and paying for it in cash or getting savvy about how you can have it, if you knew you were paying for it 7 times, would you really pay that, and that you'd still be paying for it at maybe in 22 years' time? I don't think so. And that's where we can really claim back our freedom. So sell, 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 and every extra bit of money you throw at blitzing that debt. And then really aim at how can you simplify your life? What are the things that you can reduce your outgoing so you don't have the story that you've got to depend on that debt? And finally, the most important thing is track your progress and celebrate every little bit of debt that you clear from your life. Put a sheet up on the wall. We've actually got a free debt blitzing tracker that you can download. Do that, celebrate, get the whole family involved, because what you're doing by blitzing your debt is claiming back you, claiming back freedom, claiming back your life. So there you go. How much is too much debt? Any amount of consumer debt. And it's much easier to get out of than you think when you just put a plan in place, focus on your freedom, and choose you first. So get it happening. And in the comments below, I would love to know, until today, what has been the biggest barrier for you getting out of consumer debt? Share with that, because when we can bring our barriers and challenges to life, then we can actually go, oh, is that really true? What else could I do? So I'd love you to share that, because your sharing will also help others to realize, you know what? Having got yourself into a debt hole is not something to be ashamed of, but keeping yourself in a debt hole is self-abuse. So I'm Ann Wilson, and if you're watching this anywhere than over at thewealthchef.com, head on over there, leave me a comment, and keep choosing you, choosing your freedom, and master this thing called money.